what I'm going to talk about is various aspects of the due diligence that we've done on the project. I urge you to do your own due diligence, because the more confidence you have in the project, the more you're going to get involved with it. This is why I'm so involved with the project, because I'm very excited by what I'm seeing across the board. So let's start off with, we're in a company that is involved in the forex market, or the foreign exchange market. For those of you that don't know what that is, it's basically the differences between the currencies around the world. You can have the British pound versus, for example, the Japanese yen, and it's the fluctuations in prices between those currencies that you, if you know what you're doing, you can trade that market and make a very serious amount of money. Now, for me, one of the first things that was a big tick box is because I get pitched on projects all the time, and often they are good money-making ideas. The problem is that there's not the liquidity in those markets. One of the challenges with a network marketing company is the fact that the membership can grow from small beginnings up to tens, even hundreds of thousands of members. And therefore, if you're in a market like this, you have to have the amount of money in that market to be able to a company like that grow. So I see everything from Bitcoin through to Bitcoin mining, crypto, all these other things. Very often they do not have the liquidity in there. As the company grows, that gets into an issue. That will never happen with the forex market. It is a $5.3 trillion a day market. It is the biggest market in the world. By far, you could put all the other markets, the stock market and everything, and they're tiny compared to this market. If you look at the market, there is about 80 to 90 million private or retail traders, they're called, which are people like you and I trading the market, which is phenomenal, but they still only make 5% of the market. The market is dominated by the banks and institutions because they know that you can make a serious amount of money in this business. So that was one of the key things for us straight away, the fact that CashFX will be trading billions of dollars in the coming months and years, and it won't make any difference because this market, that would be a drop in the ocean in this particular market. Now, one of the other things we looked at, which was, again, really important at the time, but has now become really important because basically the forex market is historically proven to be recession-proof, which, as you could imagine, right now is incredibly important because the world is potentially, and I hope it doesn't, but potentially going into a very, very serious recession. The thing is, the stock markets can be crashing, everything could be crashing, but the fact is there's still going to be those differences between the currencies, and therefore you can still trade and make money in that market. It's a decentralized market, so anyone can trade it. But the other important thing is that the forex market has very flexible risk management strategies available. And why is that important? Well, if you look at the market normally, the way traders work, they look at what's going on around the world, whether it's a war here or something's happened with a company there, whatever it is, they can see that this can affect the way currencies are moving, and they can make judgment calls on that and trade accordingly. And when traders trade, they have risk management strategies where they can push the risk slightly. Now, one of the key things, by the way, again, we looked at this, I've seen companies that are giving very high returns in the forex market. The problem is their drawdown, their risk strategies are horrendous. They've got huge risk, 30, 40, even 50% drawdowns. Well, that means they're effectively gambling with people's money, and that money will be lost. High quality traders, you're looking at a drawdown of around 3%, which is very low. And in current market conditions, the traders have looked at the market and said, well, what's going on is unprecedented, therefore there is potential unpredictability in the market, and they've actually dialed back the risk slightly. And by doing that, we might be looking at a drawdown, I don't know, between 1 or 0.5%, something like that. Now, the reason they can do that is it protects the fund. It means we earn slightly less money from the trading, but it means the fund is protected. As John Wilson said, he's the lead trader of the team. He was talking about if they were trading their money, by all means, they would continue to push the risk, but they're not trading on for their money, they're trading our money, and therefore protecting the fund was paramount. But even so, we're still getting between 5 to 6% a week in recent weeks, which is phenomenal. 5 to 6% return on a weekly basis in a market where the rest of the markets are all going to hell in a handbasket. So we've got a business here that is performing even though the world is going through a very odd scenario. Now, one of the first things that we looked at, it's a pretty obvious one, is how do you know that CashFX is trading and the results they're getting are real. And under those circumstances, you always look at the broker. Now, again, as I've already mentioned, I get pitched on all sorts of projects. Another big red flag for me is when I see a broker that's an unknown broker, usually an in-house broker or something like that. Well, again, the broker is absolutely integral, because if you understand how this works, CashFX puts their money into the broker, the fund goes into the broker is then holding the fund, CashFX makes a trade, and the broker then instigates those trades, money in, money out, wins, losses, etc. So they are in a unique position to be able to see exactly what CashFX are doing. Now, there are brokers and there are brokers, I've already said, there are brokers that are what I would consider very not good ones to look at. You've then got some brokers that are, for example, not regulated, which can also be good brokers, and they choose not to be regulated because it's less restrictive and certain business practices they have. But if you're looking for the very best brokers, then you're looking for brokers that are regulated. And the company that CashFX is partnered with is a company called EverFX. They're an internationally recognized, multi-award-winning, multi-regulated broker. As you can see here, they've been voted best new multi-asset broker, best online CFD broker, and they're currently regulated by CFX. CFX is the Cypriot authorities, which covers most of Europe. They're also regulated by the Cayman authorities, and they're currently going through the process of being audited by both the FCA, the Financial Conduct Authority here in the UK, and also the South African authorities. Now, the reason this is all important is because if you are with a regulated broker, your money is as safe as houses. It's like a bank account. And as I said, they're in a unique position to be able to see exactly what CashFX is doing. Now, there is a video. If you haven't got it, ask the person that introduced you to get hold of it. It's an 8-minute video of the Chief Operations Officer of EverFX standing up on stage, and he talks about his background. Obviously, he's a very experienced individual. He's been in the industry a long time. He talks about EverFX and what, why they're being multi-regulated. And by the way, the reason they're being multi-regulated is because it opens up different markets for them around the world. And he also goes on to talk about the relationship with CashFX. And so, he does not pull his punches. He goes on to say that what CashFX are doing, remember, he's seen thousands of traders, is genuinely very special. He said the way they trade, it's almost as if they make the market come to them. He talks about the owner and how, what an incredible trader he is, etc. So you've got to understand that if you are a multi-regulated broker, I want you to put yourself in his position. He is the COO of a highly respected company. For example, they're the sponsors of Sevilla Football Club. They're multi-regulated, highly restricted. Everything they do, it has to be by the book. They're currently being audited by 2 regulatory bodies, one of them which is probably one of the most restrictive in the world. So if you were the COO of that company, would you get on a plane, fly over to Panama City, stand up on a stage and recommend a company that you knew wasn't doing exactly what you say you were doing? Of course you wouldn't. So that's a key thing for us. When we saw that, what John saw when he met the traders, we know that these guys are trading, that the results they're getting are real. Now, as Luigi has already commented, past results are no guarantee of future results, but I've been with the company now for 9.5 months, and I've seen returns of anywhere from 5% to 13% on a weekly basis. So what these guys are achieving is genuinely world-class. And as I said, there can be no other explanation of the fact that they are really trading. And this is a key thing, because everything I'm going to show you now will flow from there. Once you understand the trading and the returns they're getting, then, as I said, everything flows from there. So just a couple more things on the background of due diligence we've done on the company. And when I'm looking to invest in a startup company, one of the first things I look at is, who's running the company? What's their background? Are there any black marks against them? Do they have any business experience? What is their experience specific to that business, etc. And Huáscar Lopez, as one of the owners, is a very unique and a very special individual. He is someone that's come from a highly educated background. His father is a lawyer, his mother is a professor at a university. He himself was studying medicine, and he switched across to business because he felt that that was his leaning. And not to put too fine a point on it, he is a very, very successful entrepreneur. He has ventures in everything from property, real estate, through to manufacturing. He's also been very successful in cryptocurrencies. He recently, I understand, cashed out $90 million worth of Bitcoin, and he still has a very large holding. He's also been very successful in network marketing, and that was a key thing for us as well when we were looking at the business, because network marketing, there's a way of doing this business, and unless you are experienced in it, then you may not know exactly how to handle it. Waskar has built very large teams in other businesses, so he's a very successful businessman in that area as well. Now, Waskar is spending millions and millions of dollars on the project. This was another key thing for us. You'll see the new headquarters. They're bringing the payment processor in-house. There's going to be some announcements tonight, some exciting new developments that Luigi might talk about later. We've got they are spending money big time on the legal side. For example, the lawyers they use are based in Washington. They're the Securities and Equities Commission's litigation arm. So everything they do, they are spending serious money, but in key areas to enhance the business. And Waskar's vision is to make this a very, very special business, which is open for everyone. When I go through the rewards plan, you'll see that the way he set it up is designed so that people can come in. They can, they don't have to be a big hitter to make a lot of money with this business over time. And that was his dream. He wants to change thousands of people's lives around the world. So we've been working very closely with them. John, as I said, has been working very closely. He's now actually become the marketing director of the company. That's how closely he's been working with them. And so we've had the pleasure of working with Waskar. He is a typical entrepreneur in that he's a control freak. He wants to control everything in the business, which is why, for example, the payment processor, even though it's worked seamlessly since I've been involved with the company, he still wants to bring it in-house. This is typical of him. He wants to keep complete control of everything that's happening. But we've also seen a man that has got tremendous vision for the company. He's planning 5 years ahead, and he's very visible. He actually lives in the US. He's a family man, etc. So he's a very good captain of the ship. The other owner, Edwin Abad, is someone that is a world-class trader. He has an engineering background. He had run a very successful engineering company, but as I said, he's a world-class trader. He is the gentleman the chief operations officer from EverFX talks about how he is a genuinely, seriously good trader. The way he trades without emotion. Again, if any of you that know about trading, being able to trade without emotion is really important. It's all very well being able to trade with, $100 or $1,000, but once you start getting up to big numbers, then that can put psychological pressures on you, and you can actually start making, changes to your trading style. If you do that, then you can get into real trouble. So to be able to trade without emotion is a really important thing. So I do recommend, by the way, you watch that video. It's only 8 minutes long, but you'll see how the COO of EverFX recommends the company. And I think, by the way, just a little bit more on that. I mean, because if you are a COO of a company that is being audited, not just about the fact that CashFX is doing brilliantly so far, but he's got to be very confident because he's putting his company name to CashFX. Very confident the fact that this company is going to continue doing what they're doing because he's now put his company's name to the company. So I think it's just an important point to raise there. So just a few stats on the company. We've got 20,000 active members around the world, so we've only just begun. We're in 100 countries, 71,000 successful payouts. And this is a great feature of the business. When I'm going through the rewards plan, you're going to see this. Everyone makes money with CashFX. That's the great thing. Someone joins, they're making money. We get paid every Saturday. That money goes into our accounts. That's money you can withdraw. And, as you can see, 70,000 successful payouts. I've lost count of the number of withdrawals I've made. Absolutely seamless. So that's a great thing about this business. We make money, you get paid, and you can withdraw that money. The company also is developing their own proprietary technology. Again, a red flag for me is when I see a company with a bot. Often, bots are great, but they only work for a short period of time. The way these guys are using their systems is world-class. Just again, some of the team here, and again, that's John Kinnear, he's my enroller, which is great to have John, working with the team because again, I get unique insights on what's going on with the company and the way they're doing things. This is the trading team. Again, they're all world-class traders, have been trading for many years, and they really, really know what they're doing. And John Wilson is the top trader. John Lowestock is the engineering of the team, and this is how it works. Basically, they work together as a team, so you've got traders and engineers working together, and together they're developing and constantly tweaking the EA, which is expert advisor, and AI technology, artificial intelligence technology. that does the trading. Why use a system like this? Well, first of all, automated trading systems like this trade without emotion. As I said, that's a really key thing. But they can also make thousands and thousands of trades very quickly. And they can do things like scalping, where they're just making a small percentage on profit on each trade. So again, it's a very effective system. So the way that guys work is they'll look at the market as they've always done. They'll then assess the strategies and the risk strategies they're going to do. Then they then hone the technology, and they're constantly tweaking it all the time. This is why it's important to have an in-house bot rather than an out-house one, because at the end of the day, these guys know what they're doing. They've developed it, and they're constantly tweaking it. Understand there's some big developments coming that in the next few weeks. Couple more things on the due diligence. Again, this gentleman is another big tick box. Ron Poe, very well-known businessman. He's based in the US as well. He is someone that has been very successful setting up various companies over the years. He's also a consultant, helps companies that are struggling. And he's also the co-founder and president, CEO of the Conversion Pros. Now, this is a highly reputable company. They work with Fortune 500 companies and many, many network marketing companies around the world. They're in 60 countries. And they are basically known as a premier global software company that specializes in custom software development, back office tools, commission tracking, online marketing, etc. Basically the infrastructure of a business. Now, if you have a company that is using the Conversion Pros, you know that they're investing heavily in the infrastructure. And that's one of the key things I've seen, and I'm sure Luigi and many other people that are already in the business have noticed, the fact that we have a startup company. We've been going now for, I don't know, 9-10 months, and yet it's been absolutely seamless. The whole process has been absolutely superb, from the payouts to the back office to all sorts of things. You know, you see that they've spent money on the business, which again is typical of Wasker. He wants this company to be the best of the best and is investing heavily accordingly. And so having the Conversion Pros behind the company is a big tick box, because you know they're doing all that, but it goes a little bit further than that. As I've already mentioned, the Conversion Pros, and Ron has been involved with many, many network marketing companies around the world, but he's never been tempted to actually join them. He's always just been the consultant. Well, with CashFX, he can see what's going on with the company, and he's been so impressed that he's actually joined as an affiliate, and he's out there building the business alongside doing everything else that he's doing with the business. So again, that was quite a testament to how good this company is, the fact that he's done that. And finally, by no means least on the due diligence, this is an online business, and many online businesses are just online. There is no headquarters and everything else. Now, that's not necessarily a red flag, because, you know, it can make sense sometimes to not have a headquarters, so I'd call it a grey flag maybe. But there are companies that have an office, but usually that's leased. But again, CashFX aren't like that. You know, they're putting their money where their mouth is, and they've invested, I understand, $2.2 million so far in this project. They've purchased the whole 9th floor of the RBS Tower, which is a prestigious building in a prestigious part of Panama City. There's Carolina Venturi, who's the architect on the project. And basically, you know, people in my team and also John have already visited the offices and were mightily impressed. And I understand these offices are going to be opened literally in the next month or so. And once they are, it will have the most advanced trading floor in the Southern Hemisphere. People will be, it's going to have an open door policy. People will be able to visit the office and be shown around the offices, etc., at any time. So just sort of a recap. So we've got a company here that has got very high net worth individuals that are very accessible. They're working with us all the time. They are people that are investing millions of dollars into the project. They're people that are clearly very passionate about the business. We've got you know, people partnered with the company, like the Conversion Pros, that are the Conversion Pros, which are, again, world-class companies, and companies putting their name to the project. You've got a world-class broker in EverFX that is not only just partnered with the company, but again, actually strongly recommending them. And you've got an head office and everything else. So when you look at the company from a due diligence point of view, I can't find any red flags with this business. Everything they're doing stacks up. The rewards plan stacks up from a sustainability point of view. So this is a world-class operation being set up as a long-term business. Now, let me tell you guys, you know, when I invest in a startup company, you know, you can do due diligence all day long, and there's no absolute guarantees. but you can immolate the risk by doing as much due diligence as you can. And if you can see that a project's this well set up, I'd have no problems with investing into this project. So that's basically the foundations, because it's all very well me showing you a business making lots of money, but if it's not going to be around long term, then what's the point? And that's the whole point of what I've just showed you there. This is a company being set up to be around very long term. So how does the company work? And it works in a similar way to a bank, if you like. A bank, you know, when you deposit your money into a bank account, the bank takes that money, they trade that money. This is why banks are so wealthy. It's not because of the monthly fees. They're using the funds that they have to go out there and trade, in particular the forex market, and they can make billions of dollars of years doing that. The difference is they'll pat you on the head, give you 0.5% of interest a year, whereas CashFX will give you a share in the trading process. So you can buy a contract. Let's move this over here out the way a bit. So you can buy a contract with CashFX for as little as $300, and you can buy a contract for as high as $100,000. So you can come in at whatever level that you feel comfortable with. Now, one thing I would stress, you know, be sensible. Don't go and bet the farm, or, you know, go and remortgage your house. Sometimes people get sort of overexcited. Just come in with a level that you feel comfortable with, and just always remember that past results, you know, are no predictor of the future. But based on what I've seen with the company, as I said, I've been with the company for now 9.5 months. I've had everywhere from 5% to 13%. There is a good chance that you're going to see a significant return. And if you talk to people in the business, they're all experiencing the same thing. So when you buy a $300 contract, you get a couple of things. First of all, it is split down into 30% of the contract is the Academy program, which I'm going to talk about in a second. So that's $90 on a $300 contract. And the remaining $210 goes into the trade pool. So it's split. So let me just talk about the Academy program. Now, the company is listed as a training company, not a trading company, because this is a big part of what the company is going to be offering. It's a very valuable skill. You think about that. A lot of people now, they may have, you know, lost their job, their businesses are failing, etc. So people are looking for a plan B, and CashFX as a business model is going to offer that. But you can also learn how to trade if you want to. You can use the Academy series to actually learn how to become a forex trader, which is a very valuable skill. It's something that, you know, you can do outside of CashFX, and it's something that you can do for life. So this is quite a serious product. It's going to be accredited by the Panamanian Ministry of Education, and people can start off with as little, as I said, a $300 contract, where they would get the Elemental series, which basically introduces the world of forex, learn the basics, and become familiar with important terms and concepts. And you can upgrade and upgrade over time, taking the modules. There are training modules and the testing modules and everything else that you can do to take yourself right the way up through to the Supreme series, where you can learn some of the most advanced trading techniques and also the psychology of professional trading. I've already mentioned this, by the way, that the psychology of trading is really important, being able to trade without emotion. So again, this will be getting one-on-one training on that. So when you're trading, not only have you got the skills to trade, but you also have the proper psychology to be able to trade successfully. So this is going to be an incredible program. And as I said, it's going to be accredited by the Panamanian Ministry of Education, which I believe is going to be a first for a network marketing company to actually be accredited by a ministry. So, so that's the Academy pack. And as I said, 30% goes towards the Academy pack, and the remaining money goes towards the trading pool. So just like a bank, the company then pools your money. This is then traded Monday to Friday on the Forex market. And every Saturday, the returns come into your account. That is money that you can withdraw. And this is, again, one of the key things of this business. I've been involved in network marketing companies over the years where the business actually model ended up costing people money rather than making money. The great thing about CashFX is everyone is making money from then on. There's no monthly fees or auto ship, so which is always a big cause of attrition in a business. And that's something, again, I love. When you introduce someone, they're making money, they're not going to quit. You know, I have quite a large team, around about 4,500, 5,000 people, and no one is quitting the business. Why? Because everyone is making money. If we had a monthly auto ship or anything like that, you know, I would see attrition in my business. Whereas with CashFX, we don't see that. So basically, this is how it works. You buy a $300 contract, and the deal is that you will get 2 times the contract value back, i.e. you will get $600 back on a $300 contract. And that is money that you can withdraw. As I said, every weekend, the money, the trading results from the week, the money goes into your available account, which is money that you can withdraw. And as I've already mentioned, the company's had 70,000 successful withdrawals without the slightest issue. And Waskar, even though that's been perfect, he's still not happy. He's actually bringing the processor in-house. And what you do with that money is completely up to you. You can take the money and run. You can buy another $300 contract, pocket your profits, and just carry on doing that. Or you can do what most people do, is look at the business as a way of creating an ongoing income by building a fund. And the way you would do this is this. One of the clever things the company does is that if you can withdraw your money just before this contract completes, you can pocket your profits, and you can then upgrade to the next contract up by just paying the difference. You don't have to pay the full price. So from a $300 to $500 contract, you're not paying $500, you're paying $200 for the privilege of being able to upgrade. Now on the $500 contract, of course, you're now trading more money. So you get the next level of the academy program, and you're also going to get additional money in your trade pool, which means that you're making more money because, of course, the percentages, the returns are the same. You're just making more money because your account is trading more money, and you can just keep doing that. So you can go from the $500 contract. Once you've got enough money, you can then pay the difference to go up to the 1K contract and so on and so forth. Now that you're trading $700, etc., you can accelerate to the 2K contract and so on. And this is exactly what's happening. You talk to anyone in the business, you'll see that their accounts are doing exactly that. You know, they're taking their profits, they're upgrading to the next level, and so on and so forth. So you can start from $300, and without putting a single penny more money into the business, you can upgrade and upgrade and upgrade all the way up to the 100K contract. Now, how long this will take completely depends on the trading returns. And again, this is a really key thing, guys. If I saw a business that had fixed returns, fixed percentages, time frames, compounding, anything like that, wouldn't touch it with the barge pole. As I said, I see this all the time in businesses, would not touch it with the barge pole. This company, if the trading is going really well, you'll see the contract speed up. If the trading is doing less well, you'll see it slow down. That is incredibly important because it's a sustainable business model. It means the company is never paying out more money than the money that is coming in from the trading returns. But the fact is, you can go from literally $300 all the way up to the 100K, depending on trading results, in just a matter of a few years. Now, I just want to do a little comparison here. The thing I find fascinating in the modern world is that so many people don't have a pension and they don't have a plan B. As I explained earlier, I have multiple business ventures and most of them are passive income streams. So whilst I don't have a pension as such, I'm creating my own pension. But so many people don't have pensions. They don't have a plan B when it comes to if their business fails or anything like that. I would be very uncomfortable being in that kind of situation. But it's amazing that people don't think ahead. But even if you do have a pension, this is the problem with pensions, this is why I don't have one, is you can be putting $300 a month into a pension, and over the course of 30 years, for example, you may or may not get a decent pension at the end of it. Anyone who thinks that a pension is guaranteed is fooling themselves, particularly right now, because I think pensions are being thumped with what's going on around the world. So that's one option. And if you've got a pension, I'm not saying don't quit your pension. Absolutely, I'm not saying that at all. But I'm just saying that CashFX is offering a very powerful alternative because you can start for $300 and you can grow your account over a matter of years. And once you get up to the 100K contract, you could be earning thousands of dollars a week from the trading. Why? Because you're now trading $70,000. So you're trading $70,000 and you're getting a 5 or 6% return a week. You can imagine the maths on that, okay? So this is the whole essence of what Waskar wanted. He wanted an opportunity that people can come in for a small amount of money. The risk is $300, and yet you can grow that to a very serious fund that is giving a life-changing return. Now, if you want to, and you don't have to, you can also refer this to other people, and when you do so, that accelerates the process. I started off with a $300 contract myself, and I went all the way up to the 100K contract without putting a penny more into the business in just 8 months. And I did that because I went out and introduced this to other people, which then brought profits into me, which I used to upgrade my account. And so this is something that you can do yourselves if you go out there and introduce the opportunity to others. So let me just move this back over here. Now, by the way, guys, there is quite a lot to cover on the rewards plan. I'm only going to cover a bit of it because otherwise there's just a bit too much information to go through. So don't worry if it's sort of if it's bombarding you a bit. I have to cover some of it so you can get an idea, but you can get back to the person that introduced you after this to go through a bit more of the detail to understand that. But just for this presentation, I'm just going to give you a flavor of how this works. So when you buy a contract, in this case we're showing a 1K contract, remember that the 70% of that goes towards the trading pool, it's your trading deposit, and the idea is that over the course of the contract, depending on how the trading results happen, you're going to get 2 times your money back on that contract. The Academy program, 30% of that is taken, or 30% of the trade contract is taken, and 50% of that goes to the fast start, which is paid to the person that introduced you. The other 50% goes into a uni-level, which is a 10-level income opportunity. And let me explain that in a little bit more detail. So again, when Waskar set this business up, he wanted to set it up so that people can do a little bit, but they can actually potentially make life-changing income from the business. So when I started off with a $300 contract. And so the $300 contract, the 30% was taken for the Academy program, which is $90, and 50% of that was paid to John, my enroller, so he received $45, which is, you know, it's nice, but it's not exactly retirement money. However, I then went on to upgrade to the $500 contract. And the great thing about CashFX and the Fast Start bonus is that you get paid again and again and again. So when I upgraded to the $500 contract, John received a Fast Start. Then I upgraded to the $1,000 contract, John received a Fast Start, and so on and so forth. When I upgraded from the 50K contract to the 100K contract, he actually received $7,500. And now that I'm on a 100K contract, every time that contract renews, so even if I was a passive member, this would still happen. You know, I'm now trading $70,000, and over the course of the contract, I'd receive $200,000 back. When then I have to, you know, take my profits. I then come back in and renew my contract. Every time I renew my contract, John will receive $15,000 when that happens. So I just want to give you a little scenario. Someone joins CashFX for $300. If they do absolutely nothing, over time they will get up to the $100,000 contract, which will be paying them, you know, hundreds of thousands, well, $100,000 a year on average based on past results, okay? So if they then introduce just a few people, 3 people, for example, at $300, and they also go to the 100K contract, now remember, in this business, no one quits because everyone's making money, then that individual that started off with, you know, that $300 contract will now be earning around $160,000 a year. Now, of course, as I said, that depends on the trading returns, but that's the potential that can be done from that. So just a small thing, come in $300, introduce 3 people, you can get up to those kinds of levels. And it goes beyond that. By the way, I've got a lady in my team, Hazel. She's a 68-year-old, I shouldn't say her name actually, she's a grandmother, and she does the business. She's never done anything like this before. She just puts posts out on Facebook and stuff. You know, she takes the business seriously because that's a key thing. You have to take the business seriously. You know, it's a real business giving serious returns. But she's now introduced 37 people as a result. In fact, last week she did a testimonial at the end, you know, talking about, you know, her experiences of the business. And those 37 people, once they all get up to the 100K contract, could be as worth, you know, as much as $900,000 a year to her. So that's the great thing. If you do a little bit, you can make very serious money. If you do a lot with CashFX, you can become, it's a real life changer for you. The other 50% from the Academy program goes into what's called a uni level, and this is where you get paid off the people that you've introduced if they introduce people. Now, again, I'll use Hazel as the example. She's never done anything like this before. From the people she's introduced, many are just passive members, but some have gone out and introduced a few friends that have introduced a few friends, and now she's got a team of 250 people. So again, the company pays out very big money when that happens. So levels 1 to 4, you get 10%. Levels 5 and 6, if you get up to the executive level, that's 20% that's paid out. To put that into perspective, if someone's got a $300,000 contract on those levels, sorry, $100,000 contract on those levels, you will receive around $3,000 from that. In fact, someone in my team joined the other day at a $100,000 contract. The person on the 5th level above them received $2,100. It was an upgrade, actually, from a 30K contract, 100K contract. But that shows the power of this. People can start off with just $300 contracts, and over time, they'll upgrade to the 100K contract. And when that happens, that's the sort of money that you can earn. Now, there is also an additional thing, the matrix here, but I think I'll stop there because, to be honest, I think it's almost too much information as it is for most people. If you want to learn a little bit more about the rewards plan, then get back to the person that introduced you. But hopefully that's given you a flavor of the business. And just in summary, so we've got a business here that basically stacks up. You know, there is no red flags on the business. If you look at it from a due diligence point of view, you've got people that are very serious, that are running it. They're already very successful business people. They've got network marketing backgrounds. They're investing heavily in the project. They're very visible. They're working directly with the teams. In fact, there's a call tonight, I think, where Wascar's going to be on the call. You've got world-class partners, people like the conversion pros working with the company. You've got the broker is a world-class multi-regulated broker. That's not just the broker, they're actually recommending the company. They're going out of their way to recommend the company, which I'm telling you, that is pretty special, particularly as they're currently being audited by several regulatory bodies. You've got a rewards plan that is incredible. You can start off with just $300, guys. That's it, no additional money in, and you can work your way up to the 100K contract. If you go out there and refer people, you'll be amazed. This is a very referable business. You'll find that people will refer people, and that can make an incredible income for yourselves and your family, not just short term, long term. This is a long-term project where people can really change their lives. So get back to the person that introduced you, and you get your questions answered, and join us on this journey. So I'll pass you back to Luigi.
Hey, wow. Listen, all I can say is, first of all, I'm just going to stop. You want to stop sharing a second? What an amazing presentation. It's been 2 times now. Last week, you maxed out this call. You just maxed it out again. So listen, it's a promise, Richard. I'm upgrading my account. I just wanted to see a couple of times if you want to max it out. And all week, guys and gals, first of all, I hope that if you're new here today and you really love and you like what you saw, and like Richard said, just before we bring on a couple of testimonials, you don't need to be an expert. You don't need to understand it all. When I got started, I started off just by, listen, some people start off with 1,000, some with 5,000. For some people, starting off with 20,000 is like, it's nothing for them. So, I mean, you start off with what you're comfortable with. I started off with $300. I put my toe in. I looked at to see what was happening. When I saw that it was real, I upgraded. I started sharing it, then I upgraded. So listen, I'm seeing people start off with $300 and work their way up. I'm seeing people start off with 20,000. It doesn't matter, whatever you're comfortable with. That is probably one of the biggest things that Oscar did for this community, is made it accessible for third world countries and for anybody to get started. So I love it. There's no auto ship, and that's a big plus for me. That's enough for me. Thank you very much, Richard. I have one person here. His name is Shane from South Africa. Man, I have so much respect for him. He just ranked up. He believes in this with all his heart, with all his passion, and this is growing like in UK. Richard, hats off. You guys are just crushing it. But I also have to lift off my hat to Shane, who's right now a very good friend. Shane, I'm just going to unmute you. Let me see if we can get you on here and share some wisdom. Wait a second. Unmute you, Shane. Unmute. Can you hear me, Shane?
Loud and clear. Can you guys hear me?
Oh, loud and clear. Listen, just keep it short, but I want you to share what this is doing for you in South Africa and what it means for Africa in general. It's all yours, Shane.
Okay, thank you so much. First of all, excellent presentation, Mr. Maude. I always love hearing you and the amount of facts that you bring into the forefront. And remember when we had a look at this back in August, what you guys are seeing now, half of it was not there. We just believed in what Mr. Wasco Lopez had to say, what Ron Pope had to say, Luigi and Justin. And they promised me, guys, if you are serious about this business, we will be in South Africa in 3 months. We'll be setting foot in South Africa, for the first time in 3 months, in the next 3 months. And guess what? True to their word, As soon as the launch happened on the November 8th, Justin called me, and Luigi and Justin were in South Africa on the 21st of November. So when it comes to commitment from these guys, it's huge, huge. You know, I filled the room with 300 people. They came in, we set our foot in South Africa, and we decided to grow this. Like Luigi, I only started with $300. Now I have a $7,000 package. I just use my profits to upgrade, not a single cent out of pocket. Now, you know, in South Africa at the moment, you guys are going through a very, very tough time. I think around the world, you know, with all this COVID, etc. But this has given me a chance to feed so many people in terms of donations, in terms of, you know, for charity, because we cannot travel. We cannot buy new stuff all the time. So it gives me an opportunity to actually give back. So whatever monies we're earning, we're just putting it back into charity and feeding. And I like to thank CashFX, Mr. Vasco Lopez and the team up, you know, in Panama for these blessings that they've given us. And for those of you listening for this call first time, if not this, then what? Ask yourself that question. If not this, then what? I took a chance. I saw these guys on YouTube, but I managed to get a hold of Justin. And this has flipped my life around. So if you guys are sitting there looking for something, I want you guys to understand something. This business is 80% in your mind. If you can wrap your mind around what we're doing, the 20% is just mechanics. So that's all I like to leave you guys with. We're looking to grow this throughout Africa, and we are ready for this challenge. Thank you, Luigi, and thank you, Richard Maude. Much appreciated for this.
Listen, you're one of those people that's on a mission with CashFX, and that's why I admire and respect it. And we're coming back there, I promise. Just like we're going back to UK, guys. Okay, we got turned around just because of this virus, but UK and Africa on top of the list, okay, as soon as this gets all over. You don't need to understand this business 100%, like Shane said, like Richard said, like I'm repeating. You just have to just start and just learn as you go along. I think Gibron said it so often, eh? And I want to thank everybody who's making these calls successful, because to max out calls, and we're doing these calls every day, it means that you're at the right place. Eh? One last person, just before I want to thank everybody for this call, is Mr. Graham from Zimbabwe. Now, it's special because I met these guys in South Africa. Graham, let me open your mic. And they were in another project with me, but you know what? It wasn't going that good. You know, they've been hurt many times, like many of us. Who has not been hurt, you know, like burnt, you know, like seeing companies run away with our money? It's happened over and over and over again. Online, unfortunately, there's, I'd say, at least 80 to 90% of the companies that, unfortunately, they're money projects. So don't touch them. I mean, it's not a legacy company. It's not something that's going to be around for years. It's not something that I would bring my mother, my sister, my brother, and my closest friends to. This is something that I would bring my family and my closest friend. The next gentleman is from, I met him in South Africa, but right now the teams are just growing in South Africa, and especially in Zimbabwe. How are you, Graham?
I'm well, Luigi. Thank you.
Hey, I want you to share that little bit of story, you know, because the other day we heard Kent on a corporate call. And by the way, everybody who's a member here, remember that there's a call tonight at 8 o'clock, just before I forget, and they're going to be announcing a big enhancement in the back office. This is a feature that's going to really help you grow your business. So today at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, yes, it's going to be a little bit late for the UK. It's going to be 1 o'clock in the morning. It's going to be 2 o'clock in the morning for South Africa. But in case you cannot watch it live, in case, it's recorded, and I'll share it to everybody so you can watch it. They're announcing a new enhancement tonight. So you can see that this company is always working behind the scenes. Hi, Graham. How are you, buddy?
I'm very well, thanks, Luigi. All good.
Listen, let's share a little bit of that story, what's happening in Zimbabwe, you know, because, I mean, you and Ken and everybody have just blown us away with the testimonials. So it's all yours, brother. Just a couple
Thanks,
of minutes.
Luigi. And thanks to Richard. Awesome presentation, as always. Every time we're learning more and growing. So thanks for that. Basically, I live in a country that's been through turmoil over the last years. We've had an economy that's just shrunk. Our Zim dollar has been worth nothing. 40 zeros have come off our currency over the last 20 years. And living in this country is about survival, about entrepreneurship, about a why, a determination to succeed. And I got into crypto about 5 years ago. I was lucky enough to be introduced by somebody who gave me the opportunity to create a passive income. I plugged into it, I believed in it, and I started a vision to try and share this with every Zimbabwean that had a reason to create a residual income. But on top of that, I also was fascinated by forex trading, and I didn't know how to get started. It was scary to start with. How do you use your gut feeling to make a deal? And when somebody introduced me to come to Durban, I met up with Justin and Luigi, and immediately saw, from what I met with them, a strategy around a business that was legal, transparent. And I had done my research, my diligence behind Huskar, looked up his profile on LinkedIn. I was following Justin Halliday on social media. I saw his connection with Ron Pope, and I did my due diligence there. And I flew back from Durban totally determined to say, I can do this. I can bring this to Zimbabwe. And I came back, and it took me 2 weeks to find the Bitcoin to get started. I put in $300. I started earning from day one. But my account went live. I made 9.65% in my first week. I thought, okay, maybe that was lucky. Second week, I made 9.25, and I've never really looked back from there. I plugged into the program. I've shared this with 26 people personally have joined my business. That team has now grown. As of tonight, I think we're on 193 people in Zimbabwe have joined the platform. Everybody's earning, from a social worker to a Ministry of Health to just a normal person just going about their day, a mom plugged into the program, trying to create residual income for her school fees. And I see a vision. And from plugging into this and believing in the industry and believing in myself, I upgraded to 500 within 2 weeks, 1,000 within another 2 weeks, 2,000 2 weeks later, then 3,000 a month later. I qualified as executive, where I won $675 worth of Bitcoin. I then told more people, everybody earns money every day. Everybody gets paid every Saturday. It's just unbelievable.
And the rest.
And I ranked up to manager, where I won the Rolex watch. I claimed the $7,500 worth of Bitcoin. I've upgraded to 7, and very shortly I'll be upgrading to 10.
Listen.
So does it work? If you're a guest here tonight and you've been invited, just believe in yourself. Just have a why. What are you going to do in this environment? What's your plan B? There are many opportunities out there, lots of transparent companies. When you find a gem, which I believe is going to be a legacy company, I want to be in that space, and I want to create financial freedom for me and my family and every Zimbabwean and everybody I know. If I didn't tell them about this, I'd be doing them a disfavor. So thank you, Luigi. Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Huskar. Thank you, John. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Richard. It's absolutely real.
Okay, brilliant. Well, great testimonials, guys. And, that's the sentiment we see across the board. Just before this call, I did a call with some of my Irish leaders. They've come into the business, and from small beginnings now, their business is really growing and the excitement's there. It's happening the same in Norway, it's happening in the UK, it's happening in Holland, it's happening all over the world. So this is an incredible opportunity. As I showed you in the presentation, there's only 20,000 people on a planet. I don't know how many billions there are on the planet, but it's a big planet. There's a huge amount of room to get out there. So, and the thing is, it's not necessarily about you. You can come in and you can just be a passive member. But if you share it with a few friends, you could actually end up with a global business. It's quite extraordinary. Someone can introduce someone, and all of a sudden they're in another country. So it is an amazing opportunity. That's one of the things I love about this business. That's why I went into the network marketing world from the corporate world, because you can leverage yourself. You can achieve remarkable things way beyond what you could achieve by yourself. And I see it all the time across my business with people. So, I recommend get back to the people that introduce you, get your questions answered, and, and join us in this amazing business. All right, guys, have a great evening.